can't really get over that gold mic.
I know, me neither. I don't know where it came from.
Is this new?
No, we had it in a couple of videos, but yeah, I mean, I feel kind of stupid that I have a gold mic and you have like this normal mic, not gold mic.
No, you should have a gold mic. You're Scott Bradley. You get the gold mic.
Not even really use it that much.
It's very like Austin Powers.
It totally is, isn't it? It's funny. All right, so I'm here with Olivia Kuper Harris.
Yeah.
You may know her from Last Friday Night, the song.
Yeah.
And also the New Year's Eve show that we just played.
That was amazing.
That was awesome. How did you like that? That was your very first time.
It was so much fun. First of all, it's my first time performing with Postmodern Jukebox live.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I've been in a venue that fancy, I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I've done some shows in Vegas, but it wasn't like the same.
No, it was crazy. So for those who don't know, we played at the LA Philharmonic. It was the Walt Disney Concert Hall, which actually I thought was in Disneyland, but I realized it's not. It's just called Walt Disney Concert Hall.
When you said LA Phil, I was like, I don't even know where that is.
I was
yeah.
Like,
I was like, it's
what is this thing?
Something big.
But
something
then when you
big.
hear Philharmonic, you're like, ooh, that's fancy.
Yeah,
fancy.
it was so much fun. Oh my gosh.
So,
and everybody was so cool and everybody was so good.
I
And I got a sense of like what it's like to do a live show with you guys. And it made me so excited for tour.
Yeah. And you killed it. You knocked it out of the park. I mean, we did What Are You Doing New Year's Eve? Which is actually like very apropos because it's kind of meta in a way. Like you were doing the song "What Are You Doing New Year's Eve?"
and everybody was
while
there.
you're doing that.
Everybody was there on New Year's Eve.
So,
yeah. I told
them.
them. I told the audience. It's really funny. You guys are all. We know what you're doing New Year's Eve.
There we go.
We know where you are.
You're right. We're tracking you. So that was fun, and you're going on tour with us very soon, which is going to be a blast.
Yeah, like at the end of the month.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And also a little backstory. So Olivia won our PMJ Search contest for 2017, and that's where I go through and. I went through hundreds of entries just worldwide, and it's such a cool process to get to see, people covering their favorite PMJ song, putting their own spin on it, doing their own unique thing, and I came across your entry of Sunday Morning, and you completely changed it. You took it in a new direction. You did some scatting. And I was just like, wow, that was like it was a pretty easy decision this year just because of that.
Oh man, that is so sweet. That song is so much fun to sing.
That was a fun one.
That song is so much fun to sing, like jazzy version. It was like made to be.
Yeah.
Like done in a jazzy way.
Well, it was a Maroon 5, so those are like their first album, right? Which was very jazz.
Yeah, I used to love that album. I grew up listening to them.
Yeah. That's funny. I like that you grew up listening to it. I was like an adult when that came out.
You're not that old.
So when how did you get into it, first of all? Because I found you and I was just like, wait a minute, how come I've never heard of this artist before?
Oh my
Like,
gosh, and I know all these people that you've worked with too. It was so weird that we'd never met.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what drew you to jazz? Like, or what was your background? Start at the beginning. Start
okay.
like where
Olivia's
where
life
you're
story.
from. The life story. I'll play some.
Olivia's life story started off in the 90s.
Yeah, that's a little too dramatic.
That's a little much. I was born and raised in Texas, Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
And when I was 16, I moved to New York with my mom, and I went to I went to an arts high school, and I was really lucky to go to art school because there was, back in my school in Texas, when I was a freshman, there were all these jazz combos at my school, and there were some really awesome faculty members, and there were a lot of kids who were into jazz for some reason. And it was pretty small high school.
Texas? Yeah.
Back in Texas.
And this was just a normal high school. This wasn't performing arts.
It was an art school.
Oh,
it was an art
okay.
school.
All right.
Yeah.
What are those like? Because I went to a public school, and I always imagine the art schools must be crazy, right?
Well, it's a public school.
Okay.
But it's an art school.
Got it.
So you have to audition to get in, even though it's a public school.
Yeah, there's some in New York that are like
Yeah,
that
it's
too,
like like LaGuardia, which is where I went when I moved there. But I was at Booker T in Texas.
Okay.
Best arts high school ever.
Wow,
So much
okay.
fun. It was.
There you go. Shout out to
Booker T, Washington, Dallas, Texas,
There you go.
guys. It's the best high school ever. It was so much fun.
That's cool. And it's named after Booker T?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
really? Wow, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
there are a few magnet schools in Texas. And so, yeah, it is crazy. It's totally crazy. I don't know. I haven't seen very many movies about like art schools, but I'm sure it's
It was
like
Fame,
that.
right?
I haven't seen Fame.
I
I know.
don't know. Yeah.
I know.
I think it was before my time even.
It was the best. It was a blast. Everybody's got their own, discipline.
Yeah.
And it was just so much fun. And because of like, I didn't really grow up on jazz when I was a younger kid.
Yeah.
So I saw these like jazz combos and ensembles, and I was like, I don't know. I just thought, man, that's all the cool kids are doing that. That's what I just remember thinking that, and I was like, oh man, I wish I could do that. I was
all the cool kids are studying jazz.
Well, as a 15-year-old, that's what I was thinking.
That's funny.
Who knows? I was probably boy crazy. Who knows? I was probably like, man, all those players, they're so good. But I don't remember what was going through my head. I was really into classical.
Okay.
I wanted to be an opera singer. And
So that's what you started with. Your discipline at that time was classical.
yeah,
Classical.
I was doing classical. I was singing arias and stuff.
Wow. Okay.
And as well as you can when you're only 15, your voice isn't fully developed because
Right, okay.
most opera singers are like in their 30s when they reach their full potential.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Except for Charlotte Church, right? Was she like? I don't know.
yeah, wait,
Did she
how
do a
old
thing?
was it?
I don't know. She was like a kid. I remember my
Oh my
parents had that
God.
album.
Some people are like
Yeah.
freaks of nature, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just, I always sang growing up, and I was into like pop, of course. I listened, when I was like a kid, like 10, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Beyonce, Destiny's Child.
The hits, yeah.
That was
of
my
course,
jam.
of
That was
course.
my jam.
All right.
But at the end of the day, I wanted to be an opera singer.
Got it.
But the sort of turn in the story is when I moved to New York because I started singing with a jazz like ensemble every Sunday at this venue called the Standard on the Lower East Side.
Standard Hotel, right?
No,
Or a
no,
different
it was
Standard?
no. I don't think it was a hotel. Maybe is it a hotel also?
Well, there was the top of the Standard, the Boom Boom Room. They
The
did-
Standard is at 27th and Park.
Oh, okay. So that's the other
Like,
side, the
it's-
east side, right?
Mhm.
Lower east.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lower East Side.
Right,
It
yeah.
was like from my memory, maybe there was a hotel attached to it, but it was just a venue. It was
Got
a
it.
venue, and you walk downstairs and there's a stage, and it was like a Sunday gig.
Okay.
And I went there every week, and I sang with this like youth orchestra, jazz orchestra, and
And how old were you at the time?
I was 16.
So wow. Okay.
And I was learning so much. And I guess being in New York, the jazz scene is awesome, obviously. And I couldn't really go out,
Yeah.
But I
There's
just
that,
met
yeah.
a lot of people, and it just was all around me. And I just had this one guy, I remember, I wasn't, I was still learning.
Yeah.
And I had a guy after come sit in with us, like an adult. He's probably my age now. But he was an adult. He was a trumpet player, and he sat in, and he took me like aside after the gig, after our set, and he was like, "Hey, so I'm just gonna write down a list of singers, and you should like check these people out." And he's like, "The difference between what you're doing and like what you could be doing is just a matter of like swinging." And I was like, "What's swinging? How do you swing?"
I know it's like jazz and it's esoteric vocabulary. Like, what do
Yeah.
these words mean?
He had a big scarf
So,
on,
yeah.
it was the whole thing.
He's a jazz musician.
He was a
then,
jazz musician.
Clearly.
He had a
got-
scarf.
He had the scarf.
he
That's
had
it.
a long, skinny
That's it.
scarf.
I
and
would
he played
trust
the
him.
trumpet.
I would trust him. With his
Exactly. He's wearing
advice about
sunglasses.
jazz.
He was a jazz
Yeah,
musician.
there we go. Very
Right.
jazzy.
Yeah.
So he gave you a list of singers.
And I went to Colony, at
Yeah.
50th,
Yeah.
because that's the only place I knew where to go.
Yeah, music stores. That was a thing. I forgot about that.
Right? When you
Yeah.
actually had to go buy
the
CDs.
best.
Yeah, I had freaking CDs.
Yeah.
And he wrote down Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan. Those are the
Okay.
two main people he wrote down. And I just didn't even know which records to get. So I just walked in. I was like, "Can I just have one of each of these singers' records?"
Yeah,
And the guy that working there just picked out, a Count Basie record with Ella.
Yeah.
And I think it was After Hour. I think that was the one from Sarah Vaughan. I think that was the album. I'm trying to remember what it was called.
Yeah.
It was the one with Lullaby Birdland, which is a song I'm obsessed with now.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so anyway, I kind of went around listening to them, like when I would walk to school and on the subway and all the time. And I got really into it because I just wanted to get into it. And I swear there's nothing like having a weekly gig where you're forced to come up with new songs and where you're forced to
absolutely.
grow, and it's like going to school.
Yeah.
What's funny is when I first got there, I sang the same song like every week for like probably like the first month or two at least. 'Cause
Okay,
the same
yeah.
like songs.
Oh, really? Okay.
I was too scared to switch it up.
Yeah.
Honeysuckle Rose is the first song I ever
Okay.
learned.
That was one of my first, actually, to be honest. That was when Fats Waller, I was really into Fats Waller as
Yeah.
a pianist, So.
It was the first song on Ella's
Okay,
album, Count Basie album.
Oh, that's funny.
Now
So you did that set, like,
Mm-hmm. I
by
did it
road
so-
for a while, but then you gradually started mixing it up.
I started
or-
mixing it up. I started like
Yeah.
going out of my comfort zone, and
And
they
that's
were
where
hard
you
on
really-
me. They were
yeah.
hard on me. They'd be like, "What's your key?" Well, you didn't bring. Did you bring a chart? Like blah 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 blah.
okay,
And
yeah.
I'll be like, "Oh," so I had to learn how to transpose and
But that's
make
good.
charts.
It takes some people, it takes people decades to learn that kind of stuff. I think one thing that is really good about jazz, like if you're into jazz, especially if you're a young person and you're into jazz, people are going to help you because there's so many like older people that love jazz and are really anxious to pass on that art form in any way they can. So if
so
you
much
go,
fun,
if you
Everyone
go
was
to,
really nice.
if you have a question for a jazz musician, they're always going to answer you.
That's so true.
Like, they're always going to
Everybody
give you recommendations and steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, it was awesome. I just think about that time so fondly, and I think, oh man, I knew nothing. I was just, that was like 10 years ago, and I'm like, I'm so grateful for that opportunity. Honestly, it was an awesome opportunity. And after that, I went to Berkeley for the 5-week summer thing that they did, and that's when I was sort of thrown into another like fire.
Right,
I was in on ensemble with a bunch of players, and I remember the band leader was like going around. Everyone was taking solos, and I must have been 17 now.
Okay.
And I remember he was like pointing at people like, you take a solo, now you take a solo. And he pointed at me, and I was like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
No.
You get all whiplash
And he was
up
like,
in here.
go, come on, go, just did. I was like, what do I sing? He's like, anything, go. And I was like,
just had to scat.
I just
Yeah.
made stuff up.
That's funny.
And it was so scary, and it's those experiences that push you over the edge, and then you go, okay, well, I didn't die,
Right,
and no one made fun of me in front of my face, so
Well,
I guess I could
good.
try it again.
You bottom out. You're like, this is the most like horrifying it's ever going to be. Like, it's never going to be this nerve wracking. I mean, I think that's probably the way to learn really any discipline. You got to be able to go. You got to be willing to go to the point where, where you're just horrible at something, or not even horrible, but
totally.
You try something that is way out of your comfort zone that you have no hope of doing well. Just to, it just kind of kills the ego a little bit. But then after
Totally.
that, you get to, you build up all the fundamentals, and you don't think about that anymore. You don't think about like, okay, you're like, I've already done this thing that's way out of my comfort zone. How hard can anything else be?
Yeah, it's probably like the way comedians feel like the first time they get up in front of an audience and
Yeah, I always wondered
or
about
something.
that. I was always saying like I wanted to do like a PMJ, like a stand-up comedy night where we go to like an improv club and we all of us have to prepare 5 minutes of material, and just and then we give out like prizes to whoever does the best and also whoever bombs the worst. I think that would be really.
I want to
I'd
go
love
when
to do
Casey
that.
goes.
Oh, Casey would kill it. Casey
Yeah,
would,
I feel like he'd be really good
I
at
think
it.
he'd come up with some crazy like physical comedy. It would just be nuts.
And the Vance, I want.
Well, Vance, I think he'd be funny too.
I think he'd be really funny. I mean,
Kubota Adams is very good at insult comedy. That's
Okay.
that's kind of his thing.
I
I think
haven't met
everybody's
so
got
many
there.
people, but yes,
Yeah.
he would be good. He would be good. And I don't know if you could get me up there, but
All right, well, yeah. I mean, but you did. You scatted when somebody pointed to you. So maybe all I have to do is just like, hey, you,
yeah,
get up.
if you yell at me and point, I
Just-
might.
Yeah, that's it. That's the key. That's all it is.
Yeah, get up now.
Yeah,
Go
right,
now.
yeah.
Right now.
Do
Right now.
it.
If you say it enough times, I might just get up there.
So why don't we take a break and play a song?
Yeah, let's play.
Let's play Honeysuckle Rose.
Okay.
Key of C.
C, yes.
C. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yes,
And
let's do
so
it.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I remember that version. What's the tempo? What kind of tempo does she do it at?
man, we could
Does she
do-
do it quick?
Yeah, let's do it quick.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do it real quick? All right. Every honeybee fills with jealousy when they see you out with me. I don't blame them, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. When you're passing by, flowers droop inside, and I know the reason why you're much sweeter, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. Don't buy sugar. You just had to touch my cup. You're my sugar. It's so sweet when you stir it up. When I'm taking sips from your tasty lips, it seems the honey fairly drips. You're much sweeter. Oh, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. Oh, don't buy it, don't buy it, don't buy it. But don't buy it, don't buy it, Feels with jealousy, what does you have with me? I don't blame the goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. When you're passing by, flower droop beside you, and I know the reason why. You're my sweeter, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. Don't buy sugar, you just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar. It's so sweet when you stir it up. When I'm taking sips from your tasty lips, seems the honey fairly drips. You're my sweeter, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose.
That's fun. Killed it. That was awesome.
Dude.
It was really fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. So, okay, Honeysuckle Rose. What were the other standards you did? You probably did. Was it all stuff like Ella, Sarah Vaughan type of stuff?
Oh yeah, I
was
did.
it-
I mean, I did a ton of standards. God,
Yeah.
I don't even know. There's so many amazing ones.
That's really the best education, though.
There's so
just
many good
taking
ones.
time to, and then you realize you start to see the patterns. You start to see, like, oh, this one has a bridge that's kind of like that song, where
That's so true. And then you're
you
like,
get one where it changes keys.
You're like, oh, I could like quote another song while I'm
Right.
singing this song. Yeah, you do start to
You
realize.
see those kind of patterns, and then I remember like the first times like playing those really tough songs like Body and Soul
I love
or
that
Sophisticated
song.
Lady, where
Yeah.
it's like the bridge is in a different key, and you're like, wait, where's it going? You
Oh my
know?
gosh. And then you also learn a lot by, totally making those mistakes while you're doing a gig.
Right, right.
Where you like get lost and then you're like, oh man, got to make sure that never happens again.
There's been, I know I've done it before where I played the bridge to the wrong song, because it's like kind of the same.
Really?
And then you
That's-
come out of that bridge and you're playing a different song.
You
And it's
played-
like everybody, and I mean, if you got good players with you, they just follow you. They just do.
That's so funny.
I used to do a gig, and we used to do a gig where it was like kind of like, the last set was just like a jazz odyssey. It was just like weird stuff. We'd start playing some jazz standards, and then I'd like throw in like old school hip hop or just like
Nice.
random
best.
quotes, or it'd be like, just a bunch of bridges that goes to different songs, and
It's so funny also because all those little melodies are in your head. And especially if you improvise, like as a singer, if I'm like just gonna like make stuff up on my own while no one is playing any chord changes, I realize if I'm trying to stay just doing stuff that's unique and coming up with my own ideas, I find that my brain will automatically go onto all these different melodies and find melodies. And it's so
Right.
hard to like come up with unique licks, you know?
Yeah, totally. I mean,
because
I always think about that.
naturally, yeah.
Right. In that, the way that we all learn to some degree by mimicry,
totally.
Like, I mean, and that's really, that's how you learn a language. You learn it by you hear somebody, you hear your parents talk. And so I always think about that, like when people say like, oh, this song sounds a little bit like this one, that's plagiarism or something like that. But it's like, at this point, like how hard it's very hard to go through and write all these amazing songs without having any part that you copy of another song, like maybe accidentally or something.
I actually wrote a song and then sat down one day and realized that it was the same chord changes as My Heart Belongs to Daddy.
But that's, I mean, how
was
many
like-
jazz standards? They all have the same shape.
I was like,
oh
no, what have I done?
Yeah, but I mean, stuff like that, especially in jazz. I mean, rhythm changes. There's a reason they call it rhythm changes, but there's lots of songs that have rhythm changes. Or blues. I mean, blues is like the big
I think
one.
that's kind of cool about it,
Yeah. I mean, but I think that people can get a little bit too caught up in trying to be the most original and the most, I got to do something that nobody's ever heard before. But, I think in some ways, it's really cool to kind of pull from other traditions and,
Oh yeah.
kind of put your own spin on it and everything.
And I also think like cross genre stuff is kind of fun, I think that
So do I.
yeah, we
mean-
all know. right. Oh yeah.
But no, that's true. Like, what are some songs that you've done kind of cross genre?
Well, it's more like people I listen to where I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I totally can hear their influences in here. Like you listen to Amy Winehouse and you're like,
Sure.
oh, she clearly listens to a ton of jazz or
Yeah,
soul,
yeah.
you know, and you can even go.
Did you hear her first album? It was called Frank, I think it was.
Yeah, it's really
And she
good.
did like Moody's Mood for Love. She was doing like jazz standards.
She was doing
and stuff. It's
standards.
crazy,
What does
yeah.
she do? Man, she does the jazz standard. I can't remember what it's called, but the recording is really beautiful and like
Yeah.
heartfelt.
Yeah.
Can't remember it, so oh well.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure somebody has Google out there.
Somebody
Google it.
everybody, people are probably screaming like they know what it is.
Yeah.
It's a really famous album.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can tell who they listen to, and I think that's really cool because she brings that into her. She brought that into her music, and she was doing
Sure.
mainstream pop.
Yeah, absolutely,
And,
yeah.
you know, she came from a jazz background.
Yeah.
And a lot of really big artists actually do come from a like.
Well, it's a great teacher. It's a great way to learn. I'm just double checking to make sure this is still live.
How we doing?
We're good. I forgot to hit the record. Well, actually, I can fix that in post. There we go. But
What
just
do you
in
mean?
case. No,
It
we're
hasn't
good.
been recording
No,
the
it's
whole
been-
time.
We've been live, but I also save like an archive version. I'm gonna figure it out. It's
Have we not been recording?
we've been going live. Yeah. People are seeing this. It's fine.
That's really funny.
good.
If
We're
we
good.
like didn't record any of this.
No, that would be but this is a very good conversation though, regardless of that.
This is a great conversation.
But no, everybody can see. We're good. Don't worry.
Sweet.
What was I going to say?
Oh,
So Amy
yeah, I'll
Winehouse.
post it later.
Amy Winehouse was definitely. I think that
And
she served a really good function for getting people into jazz too, because
maybe for people who didn't listen to it, they probably thought it was like an accessible way for them to.
absolutely,
Get into
and,
it,
And Mark
totally.
Ronson too, the producing that he did. You know, his work with her, especially on Back to Black, that whole album. It was great because it was like. It honored the tradition of jazz, but also took it to this new place.
Yeah, like
you know?
R&B
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
place. Have you seen Amy?
The
The
movie?
documentary about her life?
I haven't seen it yet. I'm waiting for it to be on a plane, so I always watch stuff on the plane.
That's where you watch stuff.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So good. Very sad.
I'm sure. Yeah,
but
it's-
he's in there, you know.
Yeah.
He's producing in there.
Yeah, I think. I met him once at some kind of a YouTube event many years ago or something like that. But yeah, he's a cool guy.
It's really all about the producers.
Yeah, yeah.
It really is.
A great producer can really do a lot.
They can
you
do
know?
everything.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Everything. Yeah. Who else? You know, my favorite artist is pretty much Erykah Badu. I'm
Okay.
obsessed with her.
All right.
And, you know, she does a lot of stuff that's kind of, she has a little jazz influence
Absolutely, yeah.
over a
yeah.
lot of her stuff and her players.
Yeah,
for
a lot of
sure.
his Jill Scott too.
Mhm.
Very,
Oh,
very
love
jazz
her.
influence.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, let's do a little Amy.
Yeah, let's do
yeah.
Amy.
And you had mentioned that you know the song "Love Is a Losing Game."
Oh, such a
I
good
like that one
song.
because that's a standard. That's AABA. You know, like it's the structure of it is written just like a, you know.
It is.
So let's maybe do it at
beautiful
like
song.
maybe like that kind of tempo. You know.
Yeah, okay.
So here we go. This is Olivia singing
Scott.
some Amy Winehouse.
For you, I was a flame. Love is a losing game. 5-story fire as you came. Love is a losing game. One I wish I never played. Oh, what a mess we made. Oh. And now the final frame. Love, love, love is a losing game. Played out by the band. Love is a losing hand. More than I could stand. Oh, love profound till the chips were down. And now the final frame. Love is a losing game.
That was a nice one.
Good song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Sad song.
Sad song. Sad song.
We're both
yeah.
like, oh, dang.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
These
okay,
lyrics.
all right, next song will be a
Okay,
happy
next,
song.
next,
Yeah.
next.
All right, moving on from that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about this tour that's coming up.
I'm so
Because
excited.
is this your first time touring?
I've never been on tour.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you've never been on a tour bus before?
Never been on a tour bus.
All right, it's not as scary as it sounds. It sounds like when I describe people that were like, what is it like to be on a tour bus? I'm like, well, it's crazy. It's like, you kind of feel like you're buried alive because you're in
Word.
these bunks and there's like about like a foot of space there you feel, and sometimes you wake up and you think that you're in a grave or something like that. But
Sounds
it's
like delightful.
I think we
Perfect.
just lost the- all right.
We
Nobody
lost the
panic. Nobody
connection.
panic.
We lost connection. Okay.
Just lost the. It's like an auto shut off. I don't know how to turn. Here we go.
I have a feeling the first part of our podcast, the first part of the
Yeah.
podcast, did we get the first?
Yeah, we did. We
Oh.
did.
Oh.
So what happened was there's a button on here too. It's technology. I'm not great with technology. There was a button that if I hit record, then it archives it on like a little disc. That red light there, that means that it's like saving it on a disc as
Oh,
well.
cool.
But it's also saved on Facebook, so I can just get it from Facebook.
Oh, I see.
Unless I get kicked off of Facebook,
You know
which
more
could
about-
happen too.
Why would you get kicked off
I mean,
Facebook,
they're
Scott?
always like blocking my account. Like I post a cover, and then they're
Why
like,
are they-
you don't have the rights to do this or something.
Oh, right, that whole
Facebook.
thing.
But no, we did get that first part of our chat.
You know more
And
about
if we didn't, then we would
wouldn't
just
matter.
jump in right at Olivia Kuper Harris, the college years. It would be like the
Yeah,
the
we went
sequel.
through my childhood, sort
Yeah.
of. We went through high school.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. I should really make this in the couch. Like this should be like a therapist couch.
I should be
So-
lying down.
Yeah,
talking
right.
to-
Telling all your
That'd be a whole
stories.
different story.
Yeah, right. So then you moved to LA. When did that happen?
Oh, well,
Or was that-
I moved back to Texas and graduated
Oh, okay, all
from
right.
high
so
school.
Yeah, I didn't want to skip over that.
And then I went to college in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I went to Carnegie Mellon.
All right, okay, that's a
Um,
good school.
Yeah, it's an
Great
awesome
music school.
Majored in musical theater.
Gotcha.
And so I lived there for 4 years getting my BFA.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Los Angeles, just straight from Pittsburgh. Didn't
Yeah.
even go back to Texas first. I was like,
Wow, okay.
hello, LA.
Yeah. So why did you pick that instead of New York? Because that's always the two, especially with
Totally.
music theater. I imagine that New York.
I think I'm kind of a adventurous spirit. I knew nothing about LA.
Yeah.
Didn't know anybody in LA.
Okay.
And I think like there's something exciting to me about, starting fresh.
Yeah,
And
that's
there was
kinda cool.
something like I visited both places,
Yeah.
and I do love musical theater, but I don't know, LA just was pulling me, in, and I think it was like a gut decision, which, some people would argue those are bad decisions.
Yeah.
Some people would argue you should think with your head, but I really just followed my
Well,
gut
it's kind
on
of
that
both,
one.
right? I mean, there's sometimes your gut is right, sometimes.
Yeah, I was like, I've lived in New York, and granted, I was in high school, so of course it's a totally different experience. But I just felt like I wanted to be in LA, and so I was like, I'll try it for a year, and if I don't like it, I'll go to New York.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, totally like I have to be on Broadway right now.
Right.
I have to be in New York. I have to do Broadway. I wasn't like that.
Yeah.
I've always been sort of doing my own thing, so that's why I came out
So
here.
when you go back to New York, because I know whenever I go back to New York to visit or something like that, I realize that I always think like, oh, I've been in LA too long, because then I get back to New York and it's like crazy. There's like, people are pushing you, people are rude, and that's like just normal. That's New Yorkers. They're just rude, That's how, But then I realize, and I get there, I'm like, what a horrifying place or something like that. And I'm like, no, I'm just out of practice. I've just been in LA
Everybody
too
in
long.
LA is so chill.
Everybody's very relaxed. Nobody's in a hurry. You know, if you see people walking, they're not in a rush to go anywhere.
But
and
you
everything.
travel a lot, and it's important, I think, for people to get out of Los Angeles. You know, every
Oh
couple
yeah,
months.
yeah.
Because it's a
absolutely.
weird culture, and you have to get out and come
Well,
back.
there's no seasons, first of all, so it's
No
it's
seasons.
weird. Even just it's like the movie Groundhog Day. You know, like it's
Yeah, we're living in
Yeah.
a weird universe.
it's a simulation. Maybe it's a
That's gonna be
simulation.
crazy when we go on tour. I'm gonna have to bring my winter coat. That's been
You're gonna
stuffed
need-
in the
yep.
closet for 4
Oh,
years.
Yeah, you're gonna February East Coast.
Oh gosh.
You're gonna be cold, Olivia Harris.
Oh my
You're
God.
gonna be pretty cold.
What is Olivia Harris gonna do?
But I'd say that my thing for tour, you always need less than you think you do. I remember the first time that I went on tour, I brought like 2 suitcases. I brought all this stuff, like all these changes of clothes. And then I was like, okay, well, actually, I'm going to get there. I'm like, I wound up wearing the same thing every day. And, you know.
That's such good advice.
And,
because you know I'm about to show up with a suitcase this big.
right. Yeah, everybody does. Everybody does. The first tour, everybody does. But, you know, there's like almost like a science to it. I think that there's some of the people that have been way more tours than I have are better at it. But, you know, you have like the stuff that you keep on the bus, you know, like if you have like a, you know, pajamas or whatever, keep that in your bunk, you know, because then you have that figured out.
Yeah.
Because your luggage is going to be in the bay. So you can't really access that until we get to the venue. So you kind of have
That's where
to
you
pack.
keep all your
you have
costume
like
changes for the show.
right, exactly. Well,
your
that's in the
big
wardrobes. So we have wardrobes
oh, nice.
too.
I don't have to carry that around.
Wardrobes are great.
That's
you're,
awesome.
You're gonna like those, yeah.
That's
You know,
amazing.
Stuff doesn't get wrinkled.
That was my biggest thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, man, I have all these costumes or like dresses, and
Yep.
every night I'm gonna stuff them in that suitcase. but
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
have to.
Yeah, no. That's a rookie mistake right there.
Rookie
That's-
mistake. So
you're-
many to
yeah,
be made.
So many.
So
Yeah, right.
many rookies. I should document my rookie journey.
You should document the first tour.
Yeah, I think I'll
it's
document
exciting.
it.
There's nothing like it.
I'll document all my mistakes.
I mean, I still think about our very first tour, and we had this bus in Europe. It was this terrible tour bus. It was all we could afford at the time, and it was it had the name of the bus company in like Comic Sans font. It was written across, which should have been a tip off. It's like if nobody
That's
uses
when you
Comic
know.
Sans seriously,
Except for that, is it We Buy Ugly Houses campaign?
maybe. Oh yeah,
Isn't that
they
Comic Sans?
probably do
Some
a good
kind of
Comic
similar
Sans. That makes
So
sense.
you know.
So there you
that
go.
you shouldn't-
But yeah, and sure enough, the bus like broke down a bunch, and
Ah.
the driver like smashed one of the windows accidentally,
Naturally.
and yeah, but lots of good stories from that, and
Yeah,
you know, your
those
first tour
disasters
is
make for the best stories.
Yeah,
Some of the
sometimes.
worst shows I've ever had in my life, we still talk about them to this day.
absolutely.
You remember when your
absolutely.
hair got on fire and you
That sounds like a
"Ah."
whoa. What show was that?
That actually did happen.
That did happen. Okay.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh, I was doing a show with my theater company, For the Record Live. They're
Okay.
amazing. I'm just
Yep.
going to shout them out.
Sure. Yeah.
Hey
yeah,
guys,
Yeah, yeah.
go
You're
see
here in LA, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They are. But anyway, I was doing a show with them at DBA, which is now Delilah in West Hollywood.
Got it. Yeah.
This is back when it was still this club.
Right.
And I was doing a show there, and there's this center stage is like a circle in the middle. And it was like lined with candles. They don't do that anymore, obviously. The stage was lined with candles. And there's one part of this scene where I lean my head back and laugh. And it was theater, you know, it was
Yeah.
acting and stuff. So it wasn't like I was like on the floor.
Yeah.
And I lean my head back and I put my head up and like I smell something weird. Like I've never
no.
smelled this smell. I've
Yeah.
never smelled burning hair before I'm lucky enough to have never smelled burning hair. And next thing I know,
Kids
one
at
of
home,
my-
don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't try that at home. Doesn't smell good. And then suddenly my buddy, my fellow actor, he's like, and I hope he's watching anyway, he's like swatting at me. And I'm like, what are you swatting at me? I'm about to sing my like big song, man. Like he's like swatting at me on
Yeah.
stage.
Just trying to put out the. Wow.
And
So
next-
it just went up.
It was
just
like
sort
I
of
leaned my head back and it was in a candle, and so it just went,
yeah.
and he was like
Oh,
swatting at
no.
me, trying to be like act playful. And next thing I know, I reached my hand up like this. I'll never forget this moment because I reached my hand up, and it's like, and the lights are like coming up, like because the lights go out and then they come up, and I pull out this huge clump of hair, like it had just
Whoa.
burned
It
off.
just
Burned off my
wow.
hair. It just burned it off. And it didn't hit my scalp, luckily, so I felt nothing. But I just pulled it out, and I remember I looked, and there was a guy sitting right there because the audience members were really close.
Yeah.
And he was staring at me like,
This is part of the show.
and I looked at
or-
him, and he
Yeah.
looked at me, and I had to stand up and sing my big number. And I went, And I don't know why I did this, but I handed him my hair because I didn't know where to put it. I didn't know where to put it.
He's like, what is this immersive theater?
And he looked at me and he just nodded and he took it. He took
He
it.
understood.
He was like, yeah, I'll take it. Don't worry.
Sure,
Just
yeah.
like go do the show. Like I'll take your.
What else are you gonna do with it? Yeah.
Sweet guy. Took my ball of
that's
hair.
nice.
I got up, did the rest of the show, and the whole place was like smelling weird. And so backstage, I realized they were all running around like something's on fire. Something's on fire. We need to figure out what it was. So when I got backstage, I was like, guys, it's okay. It was just my hair.
Just
Nothing is on fire. You know. And I got a haircut after that.
I guess so.
obviously.
Yeah. Well, it's grown back nicely since then.
Oh
so
yes,
that's great.
yes. Yeah, wasn't too bad. Battle
Wow.
wounds.
So okay, well that won't happen on our tour. We don't have any
Sweet.
pyrotechnics. We had a video shoot one time where I had a friend that played a saxophone that shot fire from the bell. Like when you would play it, it had a flamethrower inside of it.
Oh wow.
So that was a pretty harrowing experience. So
That is fun.
But yeah, no safety first on PMJ tour. No pyro, no candles. You know, you'll be okay.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So let's do one more song.
Yeah. What should we?
So you were we were discussing some ideas, and there was a John Legend one. The John Legend.
yeah,
Meghan
like
Trainor.
I'm gonna lose you. I love that song.
Yeah,
We
okay.
could do that, or we could do like a jazz thing.
Let's mix it up. Let's give people a wide sampling.
Okay,
Of the many
yeah.
styles of Olivia.
The mini styles.
Okay.
Sweet. I love this song. I found myself dreaming in silver and gold, like a scene from a movie that every broken heart knows. Walking on moonlight, and you pulled me close. Split second, then you disappeared, and then I was all alone. I woke up in tears, and I realized breath of relief with you by my side. Oh, we're not promised tomorrow, no. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Wherever we're standing, I won't take you for granted. No, no, you'll never know when we'll run out of time. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you, baby, oh yeah. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you.
Awesome.
You're so good, Scott.
So Olivia Kuper Harris, everybody. And if you haven't watched her PMJ videos, check them out right away. Check out Last Friday Night. Check out What Are You Doing New Year's Eve, which I know it's after New Year's Eve, but you can still watch the video, and it's still a great video. So there you go.
Check it out next year.
Yeah, or save it for next year.
Yeah,
That
put it
too.
on your calendar.
That too. So where can the people follow you? Because I'm sure so many people are going to want to follow you and
Oh, yeah.
hear all of your stuff, all your different
Yeah,
music.
my
and everything.
Instagram is olivia.cooper, which is spelled like super with a K.
What is that? I'm going to stop you. What's the Cooper? Is that your
Family name. Yeah,
It
it's
is?
my
Oh, that's
it's
cool.
my real middle
But
name.
it's not like COO.
No, it's Kuper.
That's cool. I
Kuper.
like that. It's better.
Yeah, it is. It is hard because you got to tell everybody how to spell
yeah,
it.
there's a disclaimer. I got that with my last name. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll cut it out, but
Do it. No, it's
maybe
cool.
it won't make
it
the
rolls
cut.
off the tongue.
Yeah.
Olivia Kuper Harris.
Olivia Kuper Harris, but it's my mom's maiden name, you
Cool.
know, family name. Olivia Kuper Harris. My Instagram is olivia.cooper.harris. So, and then my Facebook is also, it's just Olivia
I guess you could just search it. Yeah, search
Kuper
that.
Harris, and you'll find
Yeah.
my music Facebook page. It's pretty much the same name, just across the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are so looking forward to having you on tour.
I'm so excited.
And I'm sure all these people that are watching from home are very excited to see more stuff from you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
That's it. That's a wrap.
That's it. Is it a wrap?
Yeah.
We did it.
We did it. Success.
Woo!
All right. How do I do
Something
this?
smells amazing in here. Somebody's cooking.
Yeah. It's not burning hair.
It's not burning. This is